How much vocabularies do you need to speak English fluently? I guess this is a very common question among English learners, and in this video, I will answer this question. I will divide my video into two parts to answer this question. The first part is the amount of vocabularies and your usage ability in order to achieve each level in English. And the second thing is also my main content for today's video. It is the essence, the basics of learning vocabularies. If you don't understand this essence, it will be hard for you to learn vocabularies and to make a big improvement when learning English. So I guess we'll start. So for the first part, I have this board which shows your level, your English level, and the vocabularies and your usage ability that matches with the level. So for firstly, we have A1, which is the most basic level. You will need about 500 words, and which is enough to understand and use basic phrases, collocations in daily situations like work or school or family, things like that. And second, which is A2, pre-intermediate, you will need about 1,000 to 1,500 words. It is enough to create simple sentences, and it is enough to understand passages about familiar topics in daily life, for example, your daily activities. And next, we have B1, which is intermediate. You will need about 2,000 to 2,500 words. It is enough to understand the main points, like what are they talking about in a complex conversation. And next, we have B2. At this level, you will need 3,000 to 3,700 words, and you will have enough vocabularies in order to use at school, at work, and you can write basic, like short passages about abstract topics. And for C1, which is advanced, you will need about 4,000 to 4,700 words. It is enough for you to understand lots of different context. You will also be able to describe effectively complex problems, complex issues in life, and you can also write essays easily and fluently. And for the highest level, which is C2, you are now like the master of this language. You will need to have more than 5,000 words, which is enough for you to communicate confidently, communicate fluently, and also communicate in a diverse way about any topic you want, and in both speaking and writing form. Just know that this board does not only show the amount of word you need to achieve a level, but you also need to learn how to have usage ability. You need to use those words flexibly, and you need to use them accurately in different life situations. And that is when you truly master a word. And that is when we come to my second part, which is the essence of learning vocabularies. For me, I truly make improvements when I learned about 1,500 words, and that is when things just got smoother for me. I can watch shows I can listen to different things, and I can understand them. And I think that is when learning vocabularies start to be more natural, and it just I don't have to try to push vocabularies into my head, but rather I absorb them naturally. So in my opinion, when you learn a new word, it is not just about understanding the definition, but it's about understanding and using those vocabularies effectively. And I believe when you have the ability to understand and use the vocabularies effectively, that is when you truly master a word. That is when you are learning vocabularies. But what does understanding and using effectively actually consist of? Like its definition. How do you know that you can understand and use a word effectively. So of course, in order to understand and use a word, you need to understand it. When I learn a new word, in order to understand it, like in the most detailed way, I would read the definition and I would also read the relevant examples. I always try to remember a new word with an example so that I know its context. You also need to research about the different meanings of that word, because usually one word doesn't carry only one meaning. It also has other meanings. For example, run. It does not always mean to move with your legs, move fast with your leg, but it also means, for example, to run a business. It is when you manage a business. And moreover, you also have to learn the different forms of the word. For example, I have the word happy. That is the adjective form. Happiness, the noun form, and happily, the adverb form. So when understanding, researching, finding a new word, you need to understand the definition, find a relevant example, and learn about its other meaning and its other word forms. The second thing is to understand the context of the word, which means the situation when the word is used. You need to understand its level, how formal it is, what situation should you use it in, and learn to use a word flexibly. The third thing is to learn about collocations. I guess you all know the definition of this. They're just words that go together. So, for example, in English we have make a decision. You say make a decision. Do you ever say do a decision or get a decision? No. And that is collocation. You need to learn collocations in order to avoid misunderstanding and also inaccurate usage. The fourth thing is to understand the nuance of the word. You need to understand its nuance. For example, the word thin and the word slim. They may sound similar, but thin is to mention someone who is weak, someone who's underweight, and it is more on the negative side. But if we talk about slim, that is more on the positive side. It is also used to talk about a person who is a bit underweight but is more positive. And that is when you understand the nuance of the word. They may sound similar, but they have different nuances. Thus, they are used in different situations, and you need to understand this very well in order to just communicate effectively and accurately. So I guess that's all for this video. In this video, let's do a little bit summarization. I provided you with how much words do you need in order to speak English fluently. And the second thing is how to learn a word effectively and correctly. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye!